we're trying to document. It's like, well, what could be the possible source of this? Could it be like something back in the history of the place that just says that this happened at one point and everybody believes it? Could it be actually an environmental condition that says this really screwy wiring is giving you hallucinations, which is making everybody believe that this is haunted? And then it shifted over to we're adding more and more technology to identify and document the environment and the investigation process. So we're going out there and finding anomalies with the survey equipment and attempting to identify what could be the cause of that account, basically. What could be the cause of it?
And the equipment we use are EMF meters, which sort of measure the energy in the air around us. And everything gives off EMF. I give off EMF. This podium, which has a microphone, maybe gives off EMF. Oh, there's a plug. It gives off EMF. These lights give off EMF. The wiring in the walls give off EMF.
Everything gives off electromagnetic radiation, electromagnetic frequencies.
So what we figure is we're energy, and we give off energy. So when we die, and our bodies are no longer have our souls in them, or whatever you want to call it, but it doesn't have that energy in it, that energy remains outside of the body. And so what we do is we try and locate that energy outside of the body. And we can't always say, yes, this is the ghost of Uncle Bob, because he can't tell that. A psychic could tell us.
Unless they give us an EVP that says, "Hi, my name is Bob," or Aaron.
Yes. We have had times where they've said, my name is this. And so we know, okay, this spirit is this person, or this is this. But what we can do is we can go through an environment and tell if there's an anomaly. If we're walking through this room, say, and we get high readings over by the wall, we can say, okay, that's wiring. If we get a high reading in the middle of the room and it gets higher the closer to the ceiling we get, then that's the lights. But if we're standing in the middle of the room where there's nothing around us and we get a high spike in a certain area and we move it towards the ceiling and it decreases, we move it to one side, it decreases, we move it to the other side, we can isolate this blob of energy, then that's what we call an anomaly. And so when we assess a home as being haunted, we don't say so much we found 3 ghosts in your home, but we say we found an anomaly in this room. And then we went and we did an EVP and we took photos and we found evidence that shows that this isn't just a weird energy spike, that this might be something. To help us to get that, to assess that, we use other forms of equipment such as RF meters that measures radio frequencies in the air. We actually have a piece of equipment called an ESD, and that allows us to take all the energy in the air and it turns it into an audible noise. Most of the time it's just static, but every once in a while we'll hear different things. We've heard laughter, we've heard someone talking through it, we've heard what almost sounds like a train, we've heard cell phones updating, we've heard routers.
We've heard two-way radios, we've heard radio stations.
It isn't very picky about what it translates, but it works because, maybe one minute it's a cell phone, but the next minute it might be the spirit of somebody standing next to us. So it allows us to hear EVPs in real time.
We've got a number of pieces of equipment, all the survey tech, EMF meters, RF, Geiger counters, electrostatic, whole variety of stuff, basically to isolate and identify energy anomalies in your environment. And then we step back and we use all the documentation stuff. It's there to document the investigation and the anomalies. We're not out to go, oh, this is a ghost. We're out to go, this is what this anomaly is. And it just so happens when you take that photo, you see a face smiling back at you, you go, oh, this has a ghost.
And just as often as we find a ghost in someone's home, we've gone to homes where they said our place is haunted, our kid can't sleep, he wakes up, he has nightmares, he talks about this dark figure. And then we go in and we look through this kid's room and they have bad wiring. And that bad wiring sometimes will set off so much EMF that's leaking out in the environment that shouldn't be, that it makes them sick, that it makes them have hallucinations. And so...
Or infrasound. Infrasound is a bad one.
But an infrasound is a sound wave that sometimes is set off by wiring, computers, elephants. And
elephants communicate by infrasound.
It's below our range of hearing. We can hear it, but it's not audible. So it kind of messes up our body's system because our body can hear it, but it can't really hear it, so it just kind of confuses it. And there's a lot of things that can occur in someone's house sensation as a spirit. We've had people who have sworn that their room was haunted, and because they're disoriented, they've had periods of being dizzy, headaches, like the hair on the back of their neck sticking up, and we go in and their room isn't square. If a room looks square but it really isn't, that again, our mind is seeing one thing, but in actuality it's something else, and it's trying to kind of compensate between the two, and it confuses itself, and it has some of the same effects.
One of our new toys to deal with identifying infrasound. Most microphones and sophisticated recorders will actually filter out infrasound because basically manufacturers feel that anything below the human hearing range is white noise and you don't need to hear it. You should have a cleaner recording. So you need something like a full spectrum analyzer that will actually identify it. The red spikes all the way at the end on this one are the infrasound spikes for this room at this current moment. The infrasound that's being generated. It turned off again.
I think the battery's dying. We didn't really plan ahead this morning.
It just powered off.
Okay. Another piece of equipment that we have that we just got, and we're actually at some point or another we're going to have two of these, is what is it actually called? It's a PX, isn't it?
PX ITC. ITC is a communication
And so
device.
what it is it's this device, and it kind of works the way our ESD does, in which it takes energy in the outside environment, and what it does is it kind of assigns like letter characteristics to different energy fields, so it generates words. And I'm not quite sure how this works, so don't ask me. I don't think anybody really knows how it works except for the people who make it. But what people have started doing is using these in investigations. And sometimes it's random, sometimes it'll say something
Like
strange.
Right now, this is a program that we're looking at. It's an ITC program that takes and translates all the energy fields that this thing's got coming in. Bluetooth, RF, and Wi-Fi with RF, and then it's got respect. This has no internal dialogue, it has no internal terminology. It generates it out of the energy from the environment that it's picking up.
But it does have a dictionary. It has a dictionary of 2,000 words, and so it kind of looks through that dictionary to find that word. But the interesting thing, and what kind of interests us, is sometimes it will come up with words that aren't in the dictionary. Like earlier today, we were using it to demonstrate to somebody what it did, and one of the words popped up was Lincoln. And I mean, obviously that's a name, which wouldn't be in his dictionary. It doesn't have proper names. Johnny popped up.
Country? Maybe he's a country singer.
But, sometimes words pop up that aren't in the dictionary, which is kind of interesting.
This thing's stealing the show, we're the way. But it's basically a new type of technology that allows us to get something else from it. We're documenting the anomalies, but at the same time, we want to provide everybody with the best impressions, the best amount of information that we can get for anything. So that ranges from the science side, which we keep separate from the other portions, which are metaphysics, where we have our experts like Steve for that, or psychics that we occasionally work with, or even these new pieces of technology where it's like, this is kind of interesting. It's like a weird cross between your own handheld psychic and a Ouija board. It's kind of weird.
But I mean, there's
works.
really obviously there's science behind it, but there's no, you can't get readings, so it's not